Thank you guys for joining me in this awesome journey of 2020. This is the Vision 2020 leadership sessions that I want to start doing. So you guys are going to be a part of a series of probably 4 episodes that I'm making for this. So we have Abraham, we have Josh, and we're going to talk about leadership today. So, and then I'm going to go ahead. First of all, I'm going to actually go ahead and let Abraham talk about Elijah Rising.
Oh, yeah. Elijah Rising, they actually have, well, Josh, you can chime in a little bit, but basically they have, it's awareness against human trafficking. And they make these candles, right? Are they handmade?
Yes, so everything is made, all hand goods. They have a main office in the Heights area here in Houston, but they also have a home out in the Candleton area where they house formerly battered women that are victims of human trafficking. Yeah. So they have a
great
store.
Candles, great people. Look them up. Elijah Rising, good people.
Nice.
Yeah.
So let's talk about leadership. So I want to ask you guys a little bit on. I'm going to ask the question, and then I'll probably I'm going to probably give you guys my perspective, give you guys some time to think.
Yeah.
So one of the first things that I want to discuss is, what do you plan on doing different 2020 that you feel like you should have done last year and stuff like that? So let's talk about that. So I'll tell you, one of the things that I want to do is I want to listen more. I feel like a lot of times somebody gave me an idea, right, I would just let it go by. I'd just be like, oh, okay, cool.
That's good.
And I would say, we'll try it out, but I never really took it to heart and listened. Man, this person really has an idea for our church or ministry or business, whatever. And so I think one of the things I want to do is I want to listen more.
That's good.
So I don't know, what do you guys think that you would do different for 2020 as a leader, as a pastor? What would you do different?
Gosh, I mean, I think what you just said is actually probably my theme this year is listening. It's so important. We were at a conference in Reynosa in Mexico recently, and we met a pastor by the name of Stephen Richards. Very cool guy. He pastors in Monterey. But I said, man, if you could tell us anything that you've learned, what is that? And he said, don't take yourself too serious, right? And we've heard that before. We always hear of that. But for me personally, when he said it, it kind of like clicked. Because you're right. I think as leaders, it's good that we have ideas. It's good that... Yeah, so basically, thinking about, how God inspires us, how God leads us, and we go to Him for inspiration. I think we are so secure in that sometimes we don't listen, like you're saying. Sometimes, we say, oh, yeah, that's a good idea. But, we've spent time with God. We've written down our vision and our idea, so we kind of go with that. But I think you're right. I think it comes back to listening and then trust, right? Mm-hmm. Trust that God is also speaking to that person. Right. God has put that person there to say, you guys should probably try this year. So that's good. That's for me.
I think for me, for this year, it was understanding the beginnings of a lot of things. Especially as people who lead, we're constant visionaries, and sometimes we forget why we fell in love with things in the first place.
That's
true.
And
I think sometimes, especially in this new year, new decade, it's a good time to be able to just reset. Oh, this is why I've done this in the first place, and being able to come from that sort of heart position. So everything that you're doing is produced out of love, produced out of passion, and you can remember this is why, this is something that I've grown to love and learned how to become better at, and just seeing everything that I do come from that sort of posture. I think it helps inspire people around you, and also give you a better perspective on yourself. Hey, every piece of work that I want to come in to do this year is going to be straight out of passion, and I want others to be able to see that. So.
Right. So speaking of reset, let's talk about 2 decisions that I think every pastor and leader is going to have to deal with in 2020. Talking about something new. So at our church, when it's January, I know now is the time to make the changes. Because it's kind of that, not the excuse, but it kind of gives the people more leeway to accept something new because it is a new year. Sure. And now that we start a new decade, I think one of the things that we need to discuss is, so in general, I'm a pastor, or I'm a leader, or I'm in charge of something. I want to get some new people. How do we get more people involved? What are some ideas we can do? But before we attack that, let's start with AB. How would you, and this is hard to talk about, but somebody needs this. How would you let go of somebody? Maybe is that time to kind of weed out the leadership a little bit?
Yeah.
How would you say, hey, you know what? It's time, to move on, or I don't know how you would word it, but basically the blunt, raw thing is, look, this individual or these group of people are not really putting in the work, but they expect to receive the fruit of the labor. Or another scenario is, and these people are here, but they're not here. I told my leaders the other day, when I was in a business, I would go to a meeting that I would drive 45 minutes, and I would just go and fill in a seat. I mean, but I was considered one of the leaders in Houston. So I remember going there, and all of a sudden my mentor at the time was upset. He was like, he called me and like another girl and somebody else to come together, and he said, you know what, guys, you need to put more work into this.
Right.
And I got offended by that, because I was like, man, you know what? I drive 45 minutes. Well, one of the girls stood up and said, you know what? How dare you say that? I drive an hour to be here.
Sure.
What do you mean? It's like, is this not enough? Like, I'm here. I'm coming to these meetings. Is that not enough? And my mentor told her and looked at her in the face and said, no, it's not enough.
Right.
Because you're just filling in the seat. Then somebody else who drove 5, 10, 15 minutes, they're filling in seats.
Right.
So if you're not putting the work ethic, it's not enough to be a leader and just coming showing up. So it's not enough. And what's interesting is that about 5 years later, I'm at the position at the church, and I had gotten fed up with some people, and I had said in that leaders meeting, guys, I need y'all to work.
Yeah.
And I had one girl say that to me. I come after work to be over here. Is that not enough?
Yeah.
And you best bet I looked at her in the face and I said, sorry, it's not enough. It's not enough.
Yeah.
So, anyways, how do we kind of weed out and doing it with love and not just like, hey, get out, but how do we weed out?
Man, I don't think I have the answer for it. I mean, I can tell you my perspective. I can't tell you that's not enough. I can tell you my opinion about it. And my opinion is that, I was going to say something super cliche, and I think I'm still going to say it, but I really believe this. I think God does the best firing. And let me explain myself. I feel like when there's a situation that it's almost impossible because of different factors. It could be that the person has grown up there in that position and feels that they deserve it, or they've driven miles and miles, they're not going the extra mile to actually be a good leader. They're just there filling a seat, like you're saying. They feel like they deserve it. For me personally, I'm probably not the best at firing people or telling people. And if we listen to Craig Rochelle, he's gonna chew me out for this, Pastor Craig Rochelle, because Craig Rochelle is like, you have to define the lines, say who you need, who you don't, and that's great. I'm personally not the best at it. So what I do is I kind of and we can argue after this, if you want to argue with me after about it, but I can already think of the comments that can be made by this. But I always go to God and I say, God, look, you know my heart, you know my intention, you know my leadership style. I need the people around me that are going to help us build together. Where I can work. The last thing you want is for someone to already feel like they can't be part of your team because you feel like they're not doing enough.
Right.
So you're already not, working together. It's just an elephant in the room. It's awkward. You shouldn't be there. You shouldn't be their leader. They just need to move on, Yeah. So I always say, God, put something in them that makes them say, I need to move on. And I might be wrong, but up to now, it's kind of worked. It's kind of worked where the person will say, actually, Pastor Abe, I'm moving on. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And at that point, I'm already thinking, well, I was going to have that conversation with you. Mm-hmm. So before you came, I was asking God to make you feel that, So, there's a lot of ways to do it. I think what you're saying is always right, is knowing the vision that you have. Yeah. And if those people aren't adding to that, then they should find the person that they can add to, because they're obviously not adding to you.
Right.
So that would be my 2 cents on that. So
just like, get out.
There's a lot of agreement what I feel in that. I think, like I said earlier, as vision carriers, we always want to, we see the immediate and what we want to accomplish, in front of us, whether it be this month or whatever, and then we look at the long run of things, and we could all like look back and see like people that aren't necessarily with us or in our ministry anymore or leading alongside of us, and find ways that they did add to us back in the day. But I think it's always been like, if I love the person that I'm serving under, like, you know, we're gonna do that extra mile all the time.
Right.
And so like you said, you know, like a minute ago, like if somebody isn't adding to you, then, you know, no one's indispensable.
Yeah, I mean,
I think
for me, like, the conversation can come up. Like, I'll bring it up. I'm not saying that I'm not confrontational. If there's an elephant in the room and you're obviously not happy serving here, and I'm obviously not benefiting from you serving in this house or wherever it is, your organization, whatever it is, I think the conversation does have to come up. Hey, what do you feel? Tell me what you feel. And that person will probably tell you, honestly, I feel like I'm not welcomed here. Okay, so why do you not feel welcomed here? And I think that can kind of lead to, you know what? I honor you, I love you, but life is a little too short for you to be miserable under my leadership.
Right.
You should probably find something where you just, you know, be yourself, be successful there. Find that house, find that organization, and go all in.
Wow.
So I do agree in making, you know, room for that conversation.
Yeah.
But I think at that point, you got to know what you're going into to say that you might have to tell them, hey, you know what? You might be feeling this and you were probably waiting for me to say it, but I think you should move on.
Yeah. Yes. Another avenue, I think you just sparked something, because maybe perhaps they're not working because they're in an area that they don't want to serve in.
That could be it.
You
too.
have somebody in the sound that just doesn't care about sound, or somebody maybe doing something that they're not. So
that's good.
If they feel like they're not welcome, what if we did something like, well, what would you like to see that would help you feel welcome? And if somebody would say hi to me or somebody. So, okay, why don't we put you in that position?
Sure.
As you're the very first person that anybody comes in here sees. Now, obviously, you got to make sure it's in the right setting, right timing, and everything.
Yeah.
So that way you can be that smiling face to that person.
I was thinking about just kicking the person out, but you're thinking you're thinking about great leadership. I think that's good. I think there's good leadership, there's great leadership. Good leadership would probably say, all right, you're done. You know, great leadership would say, maybe it's a different, you know, place you need to be in.
Right.
You know, I always see you talking about kids, saying you're in elementary school education.
Right.
But then I have you on stage running wires. We probably need you in the kids department, right? Let's transition you out.
And they'll start thriving from there.
That's so good. I like that.
Find their position, find their spot.
That's good.
And when people like are really living under something that they feel comfortable in, like you could automatically see the quality of the work that they put in grow. Because like, I feel at home in this place. I can operate under a circumstance that I feel welcome and loved and like I have some sort of like control over.
Yeah.
And I could just operate in what God has specifically called me to do.
God instilled that in you ultimately.
Yep. Yeah.
So finding the right place, that's good. I like that.
So moving on to the last bit here. The last little piece I want to talk about is, let's say we've already weeded out or we moved those people in the right position.
Sure.
How do we get new people involved? From somebody who's been at church for 10 plus years and still just fill in a seat and not serve, to the very new person that walks into to that room and just has a heart for God and like, you know what, I'm ready to do whatever God says.
Sure.
What are you guys' thoughts on that?
I think it's always been like from growing up, we've all been in church forever, which is really cool. But I think it's always like you find the most belonging in a culture that's healthy. So when you see it like off the bat, like, okay,
that's
like where, like just reflecting back on myself, Josh, like what do you feel would be ideal for you? And of course, like, you know, God's going to make that happen. Bro. But it's like, okay, does this culture like help me grow? And like from the top down.
Yeah, I love that.
You know, so it's like, hey, like I feel like I could be under him,
right?
Because my heart and the church's heart should be like, hey, how can I serve my leadership?
Right.
So it's like, like I can never like serve to the full extent if the culture isn't like what I feel like it needs to be about. And so it's like, well, what's the pastoral leadership look like? What does service look like on a Sunday? And I'm not saying like from a consumeristic point of view, but in some sort of sense it is. It's like, can I really be a part here and really see like this culture like in the long run for like my family or whoever it may be. It's like, well,
sheesh. I mean, I think he answered it, bro. I mean, I don't mean to interrupt you, but that's such a good answer. I mean, you asked, what can we do to make room for new people and he said, it's back on us.
Yeah.
If you have a healthy environment, you have a healthy culture, people come.
Yeah.
I want to be a part of that. It's healthy, it's growing. I want to be a part of it. I think that's it. It's done, guys. We'll see y'all next leadership. No, but that's so good. I mean, because it takes the attention off of, what traits, what 3 things do we need to do? Do we need more lights? Do we need more smoke?
Yeah,
I mean, Josh is like, hey, you need a healthy culture.
Yeah.
And if you have a healthy culture, people are attracted to that.
Yeah.
because church isn't buildings, bro. It's not.
Right.
So it's like, well, how can we do better? It always has to be back on us.
Yeah.
Because if we're so worried about the outer sense of things, we're not like loving on people the way that they should.
Right.
We're so worried about
That's good.
all the other logistical things that, yes, in a sense, are important. But
not everything.
No.
Yeah.
Because that's like what? They see those lights maybe 30 minutes
Yeah,
out
yeah,
of
yeah.
the whole week, you
Right.
know? But like, if you could have somebody that could potentially disciple you for the rest of your life,
Yeah.
like
You want
maybe
that.
we need to focus on that.
Yeah, that'll
more.
work.
Yeah.
You
How
know?
many sermons? So this is crazy. How many sermons has he preached that's really impacted your life? I'm sure quite a bit. But more than the sermons, I'm pretty sure the relationship y'all have.
That's it.
Is what.
Yeah.
So it's really not the sermons are great, but it's more of the relationship.
That's it.
I think too that the church building cannot look better than the church person because it has to work hand in hand. You
Yeah,
have a really
that's good.
phenomenal building, but if the people in there are just, I don't want to be in there.
Yeah. That's
But
good.
what if you had a mixture of two? Like,
Yeah.
man, these people are just loving, great environment. Man,
That's
I
so
think it's
good.
something
That's so good.
amazing.
I agree with that 110%. Jeez, that was so good. I love when we can take the attention off of numerical things like
Sure.
number 1 you need to do that, number 2. But when you say, hey man, focus on the internal health of you with your family. Like I've been married now for 6 years. Just had our first son, baby
Yes.
Z. Love that boy. He's gonna be 6 months soon. And I just start to think, I think the more I can intentionally be healthy with my wife and my kid, and our unit is healthy,
Yeah.
the church, the community, our leaders are healthy around us.
Sure.
So I think, that one sparked something in me for sure, Josh. That's a good one. I like that one.
well, thanks guys for your time.
You got it.
Any closing statements?
Keep going. 2020. I saw this meme, and I'll finish with this, but I saw this meme that said, it was on the second day of January 2nd, 2020. It said, man, I messed up. I messed up already. But 2021 is going to be my year. Like, don't give up yet. 2020 can still be your year. You might have started it tough. You might have said, I left the old decade behind, but there's still, remnants of 2019 around me, and I don't want that. Sure. And I can tell you that you still have time. We have all this time left for God to do something great in this new decade. So,
For me, I think, everyone kind of thinks of this year because we're entering a new decade, operate in freedom. Be or live the culture or whatever it may be that you want to see happen in the church or in the city that you're living in.
That's good.
So if you feel like you can make a change, then maybe live out the changes that you want to see in your personal life and let that kind of flood into the environments and places that you're going to be in. So.
That's good.
that.
Thanks guys. I guess my closing statement is, yeah, it's a new year. And yeah, I'm probably going to I've already gotten a little bit of man, everybody's doing that vision 2020 or 2020 vision or whatever.
I love that. I love that.
I know, why not, right? Okay, but anyways, that's besides the point.
I have my glasses.
But I think the point is that regardless of how maybe other people who will not use it, that kind of make fun of the theme, I just think vision for your life is important.
That's
Proverbs
good.
says without vision, people perish.
That's
Do
good.
you want to perish in 2020? No, I want to have some
That's good
life in
stuff.
it. So we need to have vision for that. So thank you guys. I appreciate y'all.
Let's go.
Love y'all to death.
Let's get it.
Let's make it happen.
2020.
Thank you guys, everybody else, for watching. This is the first episode of Eleazar's Vision 2020. Let's get it.
Boom.